First, we'll start with our traditional disclaimer. The past results are no indication of future performance. Look, this is truly historic. The fact that we are now signing and implementing the peace gives us great enthusiasm. And in particular, as Matthew pointed out in his introductory comments, Israel and the UAE together can do enormous, great things for the world. Israel, as regarded by the World Economic Forum, has been named the most innovative country in the world for entrepreneurial culture, attitudes towards risk, its growth of innovative companies, and companies embracing disruptive ideas. As Matthew mentioned, the amounts of investment in Israel have been actually extraordinary. Last year was over 8 billion. We're almost at 7 billion in 2/3 of this year, and we're headed to a $10 billion year, or growth even during the period of COVID. Now, we've also had remarkable amounts of exits. Over the decade, the exit value has been over $100 billion. Now, exits are down in the first half of this year because of the COVID crisis, but we expect that it'll be going up soon. What's most important is the fact that exit amounts on a per company basis have been going up consistently. In the old days, we were excited if we sold a couple $100 million company. Today, if your company is not being sold for $1 billion, you're not making the news. The biggest of all, of course, was the Mobileye acquisition by Intel recently for $15 billion. Now, when you look at the diversification of Israel's sectors, and this is a slide about our portfolio at OurCrowd, but it reflects really what's going on in Israel, is you're struck by how many areas Israel is active. And whether it's healthcare or enterprise software, fintech or cybersecurity, Israel is a player. And we are having a lot of exits in these areas who are being bought by the leading companies in the world. And whether it's Intel, Samsung, Wave, or Beyond Meat, which goes public on NASDAQ, our companies are making the news. When you look at Israel's broad presentation, it could be in AI, which drives everything, or digital health. It could be in fintech or energy, logistics, or ag tech. And I'm just going to give you a quick run view of how so many of these companies are making impact. So in fintech, there are companies like BioCatch, which give you the ability to actually have biometric checking and authentication via behavior, how you hold your phone. In cybersecurity, companies like CyberX, which was just recently bought by Microsoft, are protecting our IoT networks. In mobility, companies like Skytran are busy planning the next generation of mobility beyond the autonomous vehicle. Alpha Tau is providing an absolutely remarkable new anti-cancer therapy where darts destroy tumors. In agri-tech, companies like Tevel are busy using drones to pick fruit. I hope someday they'll be doing this for dates. When you look at energy, you have companies like Locust View, which are building infrastructure for natural gas all over the world. Or in the area of AI, of course, companies like Halo, who are powering massive acceleration of artificial intelligence on the edge. And we've had a lot of really exciting companies, including Site Diagnostics, that recently raised $71 million in a round co-led by the Koch brothers, which actually gives you, in 10 minutes, an ability to get 2 drops of blood and get a complete blood count. Now, OurCrowd is going to do a lot together with our partners in UAE and Bahrain. We're going to be working with government partners, investment partners on corporate business development for joint ventures, and of course, events like this. Our platform, which you'll learn about more in the coming webinar, involves both the ability to invest in companies as funds for institutions and family offices and individual investors. We have a lot of companies, a lot of funds, incubators, as well as platforms and services. Our number of total investors today is actually over 50,000 worldwide, and our portfolio is becoming quite a robust portfolio with a bunch of companies over the $100 million mark. Every year, we're doing a lot of investments. Last year, we did 38 new company investments, and there are large rounds. We're raising extraordinary amounts of money on an ongoing basis. We're particularly concerned about the COVID crisis and investing in companies that are fighting this for vaccines, therapeutics, or for simply sustaining the new normal. And all of this is being driven by artificial intelligence, which is Israel's strong suit. You can see that Israel is one of the top 3 AI countries in the world, right behind the US and China. And we look forward to working together with the UAE, especially since OurCrowd is the leading AI investor in Israel. This is a reflection of what the AI environment looks like, which is quite wild. So with that, I'm going to turn it back to Matthew and the rest of the speakers. We invite you to join us with building this brand new future between the Gulf, and particularly the UAE and Bahrain, and soon others, and Israeli technology. Thank you for joining us today.